careful what you're saying about R4 because you get popped on the head real quick.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Today we are continuing our series on the Trials franchise. Last week we watched Secrets of the Bounty, which was the first installment, written and directed by Andrew McLean? Yes, Andrew L. McLean. And this week we're going to be checking out the second installment, which is Secrets of the Trials. And this is written and directed by Lachlan McLean. I saw Andrew McLean like nowhere in the credits, but in the previous episode it was Andrew L. McLean, so it makes me wonder if he's going by Lachlan McLean at this time. And it looks like he's distributed some of his power over the rest of his crew, so we've got some good signs here, some potential of something very nice here. We've got Josh Beck and Lachlan McLean as the editor, starring Jessica Ashby, Kaylin McNabb, James Ortega, and Spencer McLean. We've got Josh Beck as the director of photography, and we have the original soundtrack by Andrew Thierett. Sorry if I butchered your name there. But I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be exciting. I've got my dinner with me tonight, Chick-fil-A, because why not? Also, if you're interested in getting more content from me, make sure you check out my Patreon page. The rates are some of the lowest on the platform, as cheap as $1 a month. And the return is great as well. All kinds of cool stuff like behind the scenes content, exclusive videos, and even merchandise and shout outs. Like pretty soon on my Patreon page, I'll be posting an unboxing video where I start the process of working on an action figure customation. So you know what? I've decided, since you guys are so good today, I'm going to give you a tease on which action figure I'm going to be customizing. So here's a quick little tease. Here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, there you go. That's all you get. That's all you get. Now you have to start supporting me deeper on a more intimate level on Patreon. So please consider that. And let's see, what else do I want to say before we start this video? Oh yeah, like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. All right. Now we're in the zone here. I'm ready to watch this fan film. Very nice. Very cool. Can y'all hear that in the mic? Oh, gosh. Lord Aragorn. He's just strutting around with the lightsaber on his hip. Time to get some new shoes, buddy. It's a cool spot.
You better make this quick, young Mando.
You are not in a position to make demands. My soldiers have seen Jedi wandering this moon. Find them, and my client will reward you richly. They Tamra Kenny, Chanting Market.
Is that supposed to be Boba Fett? Why does he have an accent?
Hey, get this signal.
Dackley, that came from the village.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
If Master Satos saw we were doing this,
He wouldn't care.
you're right.
Besides, he sent Paid on a Jedi Knight duty.
And he and Dackley are very, very busy
with Jedi Master tasks. Things will be different after the trials.
What do you mean?
Well, the Force is calling us.
To our dreams?
Yes. To a place where we'll go when we advance.
Yes.
You don't sound very certain.
Because the future is uncertain. Things are in motion that we cannot control.
But sometimes it feels so real.
Remember what you said. Be mindful of your feelings.
I know.
But say our visionary dreams are real. Where do you feel your pull?
The desert.
On this moon?
No. Elsewhere. What about you?
The same.
This moon?
It is uncertain.
So, like, was he able to heal himself or something? He was running pretty fast for a wounded fella. For a guy that was, like, stabbed in the back.
She was here nearly 2 days ago from the look of it.
I like the aliens. The wig is much better. I think they changed actors too. Do I choose the bounty hunter life or the Jedi life?
He's in trouble.
And so are you.
Uh-oh. It's a cool looking lightsaber. Sorry, that was gonna make me trouble.
Let's kill Jedi. We can be reasonable. Hello? Do you talk, Rodian?
How is he?
Cool sounding lightsaber. How is this thug able to fight with a lightsaber so well?
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force.
Do it.
Let's get out of here.
Come back.
Get off me!
Uh-oh.
All right. That means now. All right, let's go. We got him.
Oh. Cool. This is my second time watching this. My first time watching it was probably right when it first came out, so it's been a while. This was much better than the first one, and I can just see that in the credits too. It seems like there's an even distribution of work and talent. I actually spent a long time fleshing this out in my head, writing down notes. I even rewatched certain parts of the film, and I've realized that a lot of the problems in the first film were corrected in this one. But some of the biggest problems in the first one were left unsettled in this one. Like, a lot of the bigger issues weren't fixed. So there's some give, there's some take. Overall, I do think this film is much better than the first one. Much better. One thing I want to dive into is you have the challenge of making a sequel to an existing property that you put together. Sequels can be really tricky because it's almost like the audience is expecting exactly what they saw in the first film, but they want more, right? So it's kind of tricky trying to figure out, okay, what can we do in the sequel that feels the same but more? These guys here, because their first film was so small, like there were only 3 characters the entire time. In that sense, topping the first one was going to be fairly easy in the sense that adding characters, throwing them into the mix is already going to make things more interesting than the first. So we see that through Dacley, the Rhodian Jedi Master. We see that through the older human guy, and the Twi'lek woman, and the 3 thugs. So already the story is expanding, and there's other characters that are being affected by what's going on. So already they're off to a good start. They have also stepped up their game with special effects. They also grew in terms of the cinematography and the editing. The overall direction was much improved. And what do you know? I already called that earlier. Andrew, I'm going to make a guess here. Guys, if you are watching this, please correct me, but I'm going to take a guess and say that Andrew L. McLean in the first film changed his name to Lachlan McLean in the second film. And if that's the case, Andrew Lachlan, great job. It seemed like you learned your lesson, the lessons that you learned from the first one, and you course corrected with this one. You kind of spread the love to everybody, and and it seems like you really focused on directing and writing in this one. So good for you, buddy. I know that is difficult to do. So props to you for doing that. So all in all, I feel like, if anything, this sequel, Secrets of the Trials, is an effective. It is an effective sequel. I think the story becomes much more clear. You have an Imperial presence show up on this moon. We don't quite know why just yet, and I feel like we're not supposed to know why. I think one of the more obvious things going on is like, okay, the Empire's shown up. They sent an Inquisitor in the first film, and now Stormtroopers and Darth Vader himself is on this planet, which tells me that the Jedi presence has gained them lots of unwanted attention. And so it's an interesting concept where it's like you have these exiled Jedi training Padawans and stuff, and then all of a sudden, all of these different types of threats show up, whether it's the Empire or the Inquisitors or the Sith or the Thugs. They're all just kind of coming in at the same time and surprising these guys. And now they've got to figure out how to survive this situation. So it's a cool concept. I'm glad we're kind of getting a better idea of what the story is. Because in the first one, we had no idea. I mean, there wasn't even any dialogue. There was no conversations being had. And with that, performance levels were also very low. So I'm glad we were able to kind of expand on that a little bit. Unfortunately, it was not nearly as expanded upon as I wanted it to be, but we did get some questions answered. I also think the inclusion of aliens was so great. I love it every time aliens show up in Star Wars fan films, because unfortunately it's so rare, and I wish that wasn't the case. We had 2 Rodians and a Twi'lek. The makeup effects on the Twi'lek was amazing, and the silicon head sculpts were really nice as well. I really liked seeing those in this film. That alone really helped them in my review. So loved seeing that sort of stuff. I also really liked the fist fight. You don't see that very often in Star Wars fan films, so that was a unique touch that's going to separate them from other fan films in the long run. I want to be careful how I talk about them, because I think the editing was better than the cinematography was. As I was watching the film, I always felt like I had to kind of look at different things and look around the frame to see what the most important part was. Because sometimes there were so many things happening where it was like, I'm not quite sure where to look. Really good cinematographers are also directors, and I say that in the sense that they are telling the audience, they are directing them where to look in the frame. I want to be told where to look at all times when I'm watching a film, because if I don't, I'm forced to be in a position where I've got to search for the most important part of the shot. And the moment I start doing that, I'm pulled out of the story, and now I'm actually having to work now, right? Like, it's not fun anymore because now I have to work to understand what's happening. I thought the lightsaber effects were also good. Another thing that props to the writer, Lachlan, the pacing in this film was much improved. For a 28 minute long Star Wars film, it didn't feel that long. It felt more like 10 minutes, which is pretty impressive. And the location was really nice as well. Most of the time, fan films are going to take place in the woods. This was a hybrid of many things, like open fields and canyons and rocks, and I don't know. It was just a fun environment. I felt like the sound design was pretty rough in this one. There were times where things, whether it was atmospheric or characters messing with props, like you would expect to hear something, but you don't, and it's just like silence. I also felt like even though the lightsaber effects in this film were good, all the other special effects were pretty lackluster. Like, one thing that bothers me in Star Wars fan films is when people add a force effect, like a rippling effect when they use the force. I mean, it's not canonically accurate. But I say that because when you watch all of the actual Star Wars films, when a Jedi uses the Force, you don't see like a rippling effect on their hands. It's just like that. The effect that you see is the reaction to the characters using the Force. So a Jedi uses the Force, and then what do you see? You see like dirt and dust being thrown in the air. You see characters flying back. You hear the, like everything else is all reactionary to the hand going forward. I also felt like, just like in the first one, the soundtrack was pretty lackluster. I didn't feel the emotions I wanted to feel because the soundtrack was just so corny, right? Like a great example is we're in the middle of this fight. The guy with the blue lightsaber is wounded and all this stuff, and it looks like he's dying, but the soundtrack feels like way too happy. And it just pulls me out of it, and it distracts me, and it's kind of hard to ignore it while trying to watch the film for the story. So I just felt like the soundtrack was rough. And then I also want to talk about the romance in this film. I think on one hand, it's like, yeah, it was cringe. Like, the romance in this thing was pretty difficult to watch. But that said, Attack of the Clones has pretty cringy romance scenes as well. And I felt like the romance in this film was very similar to the romance in Attack of the Clones. So as much as I want to like harp on them, ironically, the romance in this film felt like Star Wars. So, yeah, I mean, the writing in that sense could have been better. Performances could have been better. But it did feel like Star Wars. So you kind of get some slack there is what I will say. What's really starting to bother me now, especially now that characters are talking to each other and sharing a dialogue, we still don't know the boy's name, the guy with the blue lightsaber. We still don't know Aragorn's name. At this point, I'm just calling him Aragorn because he looks just like Aragorn. And on top of that, now we have another character, a Twi'lek, and we don't know her name either. And it's starting to bother me that we're 2 episodes in and we don't even know the names of the main characters. And then there are plot holes, like how is the Inquisitor so agile after being stabbed in the back? Like, I understand the Force is powerful and allows you to do certain things, but the guy was running around like there was no issue, and he gets into this huge fist fight, and I don't know, like I didn't buy it. Another major plot hole was, how in the world is this thug able to last so long in a lightsaber fight against a Jedi Master? Now that I've gone through all of that, let's dive into the Star Wars factor. So here we go. All right, folks, welcome to the Star Wars Factor, and I'm going to jump into a brief description of what the Star Wars Factor is. So if you know George Lucas enough, and if you've watched all of his films and studied the way he puts together story and the way he makes film, you'll kind of understand that his approach to filmmaking falls under these 3 really important pillars of filmmaking. So you have story, you have spectacle, you have innovation. Okay, now that we've established that, ideally, a great Star Wars fan film will capture the essence of those 3 things in that specific order. So story will be the most prominent thing. Spectacle will come close second, and then innovation will be simply what comes because of the spectacle. So I'm going to rate this fan film with a Star Wars factor of 4 out of 10. As much as we learned about the story in this episode, I still don't have a full grasp. I don't see enough of the picture to be like, okay, I know where we're going. So I think the story is lacking. But I do think the spectacle is certainly there. We have aliens, we have Star Destroyers, we have planets with like moons and worlds in the sky, and Star Destroyers and bases and lightsabers and visual effects with the Force and everything. Like the spectacle, I would say, is the dominant of the 3 tiers. But that said, I do feel like the innovation in this film was pretty standard for a fan film of this caliber. And I never felt like I was seeing something I had never seen before. And so now that we've established that, I am going to give Star Wars Secrets of the Trials a Rotten Meiloorun score of 55%. Much better. I'm really looking forward to seeing episode 3. I have not even seen episode 3 yet, so that is going to be a fresh take right off the bat. I'm looking forward to that. It's very rare when I watch a fan film that I haven't seen yet, so it'll be great. It'll be great to get like a real reaction out of this one. So stay tuned for that next week. Again, let me know in the comments if there's a fan film that you would like me to see, and I will get to that as soon as we finish this series of the Secrets franchise. Thank you so much for sticking around. We'll see you next time, and as always, may the Force be with you.
I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Sam.
No way.
You brought
no
it up.
way.